this video is about the 9 reasons you're struggling to grow your business. I'm gonna share the 8 common fears that entrepreneurs have. Then you wanna look out for these 11 signs that you are a fake entrepreneur. Don't hate me. I kind of got my business off the ground. I'm starting to make my first money. I've made some sales. I've called some clients. What the fuck do I do next? Hi, my name is Laura. I'm an internationally tolerated business coach, successful direct response copywriter, and I joke when I say I'm tolerated. I tell that joke because sometimes what I have to share is hard hitting and it might hurt your ego or the way you view the world, and I truly empathize with that. I do that because I love to unleash people and get them to the next level. And that is why this video is about the 9 reasons you're struggling to grow your business. This can also apply if you're struggling to start your business too. So keep that in mind. And it applies especially for my companies that are around the 6-figure mark and have no idea how to get to 7. The first reason you're struggling to grow your business is that you do not know what you want. I work with so many clients who at first feel like they want to grow these huge, gigantic companies. And of course, that's all well and great. I love that shit. But what a lot of them find out as we dive in and get them clear on what they actually want is they want a nice, consistent operation with a high profit margin that gives them a lot of time to spend traveling and with their family, yet gives them incredible financial security and freedom. Now think about it. If you're that person, but you get into communities, you watch YouTube videos and you feel like, oh shit, I need to grow this gigantic company, that lack of clarity, right, is going to affect your behavior. It's going to affect your bandwidth, your energy, might even lead to some self-sabotage here and there. And it's going to be a huge hindrance in you growing the actual business that you want. So if you get to that level, how can you still grow without growing a gigantic organization? Well, for one, you can work less. Once you've gotten to the revenue tier that you're really happy with, you can start to figure out strategic ways to take your day-to-day workload off of the table, okay? And if that requires some investment of you in the terms of hiring, in terms of automation, then you could get clever and strategic in the ways you generate a little bit more to cover those investments. But you see how much differently we're thinking than I got to get to $10 million just because, just for my ego, so I can feel good about myself. It's getting to the point of clarity and what you really want for the business and what you really want out of it that will help you stop struggling to grow it. The next reason you are struggling to start or grow your business is because you confuse learning with doing. This is for all of my folks who watch all the videos, keep watching mine, listen to the podcasts, buy all the books, buy all these courses. What have you done? The only way to move from learning to doing is doing. You have to take that first step and begin doing something. If you feel like an imposter, the only way to not become an imposter is to start doing the thing you feel like an imposter about, or else you're always going to feel like an imposter and you're going to feel like you're going to have to learn more and more and more. And I love learning, and we're going to talk about how to learn in a leverageable way in just a little bit. But learning and tricking yourself that you're doing something by learning is one of the reasons you're probably struggling to grow your business. The third reason you're probably struggling to grow your business is you procrastinate. If you put off what needs to be done, what needs to be tried in order to grow your business, of course you're going to struggle. That one is pretty logical. There are a million potential reasons why you procrastinate. It's beyond the scope of this video, but make sure you stay subscribed to my channel so that you can see all of my future trainings, tips, hacks as I release them. On the note of procrastination though, I have an amazing free gift that is designed to kick your butt out of procrastination along with a very powerful private training video that I filmed for you, you can get that for free at bizwintoday.com. The fourth reason you are struggling to grow your business is that you are following what everybody is telling you to do without a clear path of what you want and how you're going to get it that comes from you. So when you see those gurus telling you, go to garage sales and start flipping, and you see other gurus telling you to set up your Pinterest account, you do a little bit of this and you try a little bit of that, and none of them get the chance to grow. You need to figure out a path for you that you are going to stick to for a while. It doesn't have to be forever. Things change, but they can't change every single day. They can't change every single hour, or else you're not going to be able to grow anything. So you need to figure out a path that you're interested in, ideally even passionate about, ideally tied to some sort of talents that you have, and stick with that path. And don't let the distractions that cause shiny object syndrome of everybody giving you a new hack or a new way to make money online pull you away from that path, or else you won't be able to grow it. And that's why you're struggling to grow your business. The next reason you are struggling in your business is that you do everything on your own. How can you possibly grow if you're the only person doing everything? Think about it, really. It's impossible to grow without the support of other people. You need other people to come in and start removing tasks off of your plate. You need to know the way you drive the business forward the best, and you need to gradually make it so that is one of the only things that you do in the business. So if it's close deals, then you're the one going to the events, making connections, closing deals. If it's creating the marketing and the sales material, then you are doing all that. You are gradually building the team who goes ahead and closes the deals for you, who goes ahead and keeps in contact with the clients that you serve, gradually, one piece at a time, building that team out around you so that you stay in your main driver's seat. If you don't know who you should farm something out to first, think about the parts of the business you hate the most. I would look there. And there's so many incredible people in this world, and there's so many people who work virtually. You can very easily find somebody who loves what you hate. Bring them in, and you will finally start to stop struggling to grow your business. The next reason you are struggling to grow your business is that you do not develop any business connections. And if you have some, and you're struggling to grow, then it might be time for you to develop some new ones. You stay in your own bubble, you stay where it is comfortable and where it is familiar. As we touched on in the previous point, other people are the key to growth. You cannot grow without them. So you need to start looking at other communities where you can make more connections. These could be communities exactly like yours, other marketing communities, those are the ones that I'm in, other entrepreneurial communities, or ones that run in parallel, right? So if I'm in marketing, I can attend a conference about web development, about app development, right? These things run in parallel to one another. I'm sure a lot of the companies at an event like that could use some help with marketing. What an easy aligned way to grow my business. So you need to start building those connections beyond the bubble that you already have to stop struggling with growing your business. The next reason you are struggling to grow your business is you are not asking for help. It's another version of the human issue. You need more humans around you. You need more humans helping you. You need to ask for help. Don't meekly ask for general help though. Get specific. Get dialed in on what would be the most leverageable help. What is the one piece of help that you could get that could have a huge impact on you, right? What is one tiny piece of help you might be able to get that could last for a really long time? What is the one tiny piece of help you could get that could help you across multiple areas, right? Not just in your business, but in your mindset, in your relationships. What is it? What is that one piece of help? Think about it. Journal on it, reflect, meditate, whatever the heck you do. Do a capoeira dance with this question in your mind. What is that one piece of help I could get that could be huge for me? And then go out and ask people for it. The next reason you are struggling to grow in your business is that you are not thinking long term. I get it. The whole point of this video is sharing the reasons you're struggling to grow your business. So it makes sense that you would look at me and say, yeah, Laura, I want to grow quickly. The problem with that, though, is that you're not playing with your full power if you are in that state. You are not, with a high probability, making the best decisions for you when you are in that state because you're feeling rushed. If you feel like I need to grow now, you might do something crazy like put an ad campaign out there with no real planning on the funnel, without dialing into the advertising strategy, without having a back end in place. And what will you end up doing? You might end up burning resources, burning money. So you'll end up taking an action that's actually getting you further away from what you want versus having, and it could sometimes be even a slightly longer time horizon, right? Thinking 1 month, 2 months down the road. If you want to have your new campaign online by then, you can plan it out. Here's how we're going to go to market. Here's pre-launch. Here's the back end. You see? Versus this rushing in the moment because you want to grow your business stat. So start training your brain. Think about planning. Think about what you're going to do should something break. Okay? When you're thinking long term, you have the power to do that. When you're thinking really short term and something breaks, you're like, shit, I didn't meet my goal in time. And then the feeling of being fucked compounds. But if you have months, if you have years and something breaks, you can say, oh, okay, like this happens. What am I going to learn for it? How are we going to modify? What are we going to do next? The last reason you are struggling to grow your business is because you are trying to beat your best instead of building systems to raise your average. Another factor to consider there is beating your worst. But let's start with this desire so many of you guys have to beat your best. Wow, I had my first 10K month. And then next month you do $9,500 and you feel like a failure. This is not the best mindset or emotional state for you to be in for the longevity of your business, right? You need to be thinking, okay, I had my first $10,000 month, and within the next 6 months, I want to be at 20K. We could build out the systems for that, right? We could build out the plan for that, and only then can we look at ways, see if there are leverage points, if there are opportunities for us to decrease time. Don't start out with decreasing time though, because you're gonna miss so many of the moving pieces and you're way more likely to make a mistake, blow yourself up, feel like you didn't meet the goal in time, and quit. And that's exactly what we want to avoid. We want you to actually grow your business. If you've just had your best month, let's zoom out a bit and look at what your average month is. What is the average of the last 12 months? Okay, say it's $7,000 a month. What systems can we put in place to help ensure that every month under 7K is at 7K? It's going to be different for everybody. I do not have the answer for you, but what I have is the question. What I have is the way for you to start thinking about this stuff in a way that is going to get you out of struggle mode to grow your business, and in a way that is actually going to grow your business safely, sustainably, and over the long term. Are you brave enough to say that fear is one of the things holding you back in your business? Be that from starting a business or growing your sweet seedling of a business into a great big fruitful tree, or growing your tree of a business into a wide encompassing forest. Whether you are prepared to admit it or not, I'm gonna share the 8 common fears that entrepreneurs have both in the early stages and as they get more seasoned in their tenure as an entrepreneur. Let me know which one of these strikes a chord with you the most. The first very common type of fear is the fear of failure. Failure of trying something out and falling flat on your face. Failure of putting an offering out there and nobody taking you up on your offer. Feeling of launching a store or an e-commerce product and nobody buys it. I have faced failures over and over and over again. Dozens, if not hundreds of failures, both micro failures and macro failures. Little stuff like the buy button not working on a website when we have thousands of visitors hitting the website, things that we're supposed to launch and people waiting for the launch and that launch being behind by hours, stammering, stuttering, forgetting my words on stage, butchering sales calls with people where I would offer big, expensive packages and them saying, hell no, we're not interested in that. I have faced all of these types of failures and more. But here's the thing, I just keep making more and more and more money, because as you fail, the more you're progressing, the more you are going, the more you're taking action, no matter what is happening. And each and every single failure is in fact a data point for you. You have information now. You know what went wrong, you know what you can do differently, and you know what can be improved. So instead of sitting around rooted in this fear of, I'm not going to try because I don't want to fail, you can think to yourself, I want the data that's going to come to me no matter what. The only thing you have to do in order to get that data is put yourself out there, shoot your shot, and try your best. The more I try, the more I fail, the more data I have. And guess what? The more data I have, the more unstoppable I become. Hi, I'm Laura, by the way. I am an internationally adored copywriter, business coach, and mindset coach. And the second fear that is probably holding you back in one sneaky, sinister way or another is the fear of uncertainty. Think about it like this. You can copy what somebody else does to a T. You can copy their branding, you can copy the type of content that they create, you can copy the type of offers or products that they put out into the world, but you still will very likely have tremendously different results from that other person, brand, or organization. What does that mean? It means uncertainty is a fact of life. You cannot beat it, you cannot do anything about it. The only way to become more certain, the only way to conquer this fear of uncertainty is to take action, to do something, and get the data that results from it. Now you become more certain in what the lay of the land is, what the market's response to your offering is, and what you might do next to keep you moving forward. What you quite literally want to say to yourself frequently is, hey, I don't know how this is going to work out. Let's try it. Because trying it is the only way that you're going to be able to figure out if it works, how it works, and if it doesn't work at all. And guess what? That makes the uncertain more and more certain for you. I have a great gift for you, by the way, designed to help you take these actions in the face of fear and uncertainty with a ton of clarity on what you should be doing and why you should be doing it, tailored for you and your unique position right now in your business, be that early stages or later stages. Check out that free gift I have for you at bizwintoday.com. The third common fear held by business people at all levels is the fear of success. Now, this may sound like a weird one, right? You might feel like, who doesn't want success? Everybody wants success, especially if you're interested in starting or growing a business. You might sit around and geek out on motivational success memes and think, I want success. I don't fear success at all. But oftentimes, there's sneaky underpinnings that actually might mean you're a little bit afraid of success, even and sometimes especially when you already have a little bit of success under your belt. First of all, there are many ingrained principles that we learn as we grow from children to teenagers to adulthood about success. Your parents might have taught you hard work is the only way to be successful. They might have taught you, like my mom taught me, that rich people are jerks, they're assholes, and they're selfish. So if you have any of that deeply ingrained within you, even if you want success so badly, those are going to be hurdles and road bumps and sometimes huge brick walls in your way of taking the most effective, efficient actions toward success. So if you feel like the only way to become successful is to work super hard, guess what? You're gonna work super duper hard all the time. You're gonna miss opportunities to find leverage where small moves that are less intensive, could get you a way greater result. Even if it's only for the moment before your head hits the pillow at night, that feeling of successful people are selfish, they're jerks, they're greedy, there's always gonna be a barrier in your way to success. There are other things to fear wrapped up in the success blanket. You may fear the judgment, scrutiny, and expectation that could come your way as you grow more and more successful. So, for example, if you have that family who believes that rich people are selfish, first, they're gonna judge you for your pursuit of wealth and a growing and successful business. And then, ironically enough, they will oftentimes turn around and ask you for money. So first, they scrutinize you and then they expect something from you. Of course, that's gonna create tension in your personal life and your business life and your familial life. And it's no wonder a fear like this, with all of those dynamics at play, could be holding you back. Whatever next level of success you want to get to is unknown to you by definition. So this ties in to the other fears that we're talking about and are going to talk about, right? That fear of the unknown, that desire your brain, your body, and your nervous system has to keep you in the familiar. If generating enough wealth in your business to buy yourself a jet is unknown to you, that's gonna feel a little bit scary no matter how much personal development work you've done, right? Because by definition, buying a jet is unknown. There are a lot of variables there, there's a lot of risk. So if you understand that this fear of success is really intimately connected with your fear of the unknown, you can begin to combat both and even more of these fears all at the same time. Another component embedded within the fear of success is the fear of losing success. It's like, what if you get it? What if you get there? What if you get to that $1 million mark in your business and it all comes crashing down? At that point, you've built something huge. You have team members under you. You have family that depend on you. You have people saying, oh yeah, you did it. But then there may be this consistent lingering fear that if the rug gets pulled out from under you, everything is gonna crash and burn, and everything that you've worked so hard to build is gonna be destroyed. So it's no surprise that even if you say, and in a lot of ways genuinely feel like you want to be so wildly successful, you can simultaneously have these sneaky fears of success that if you're not conscious about them, if you do not put awareness on them, and if you don't work to work through them, might still be holding you back. A very big fear, especially for my friends who have a burgeoning, growing, or already successful solopreneur type of business. If you are a freelancer, if you are a coach, if you are a service provider, if you're a consultant, if you are an expert, is the fear of leadership. This is the fear that's gonna hold you back from, one, starting to delegate some of the tasks that are not worth your pay grade anymore, right? So the fear of, I have to bring somebody in, I have to trust them, I have to learn how to properly delegate, lead, compensate, communicate with them. I have to enroll them into my visions for my company and my personal brand. That can feel really overwhelming. So the fear of leadership is a really important one for you to overcome if you want to grow from a one-person show into a thriving team. You start to combat those fears by making leadership less of an unknown to you. So you might start with one virtual assistant and you learn what it's like to hire that person, to train them, and most importantly, specifically with leadership, how to enroll them in the vision and values you stand for. As you do that, look to how your trainings, how your onboarding could be systematized so that it's a fluid, repeatable process for everybody else you continue to bring on to your team. Everything we've discussed so far connects to this next fear, but it's so important that it really needs to be discussed as a standalone on its own. And that is the fear of the unknown. For many people, going from a one-person show, starting to build a team, leadership is a huge unknown. If you're looking to go from $5,000 a month in your business to 10 to 20, those jumps are all unknown. They require changing your positioning, adding on new offerings, starting to scale up. They require you to do things that you have not done before so you can get the results you have not had before. And because our bodies are trying to protect us and keep us in the familiar, which we know to be safe, even if it sucks, what you're reaching for if you want to be more successful is by definition unknown. And while fear of the unknown might seem so powerful and so hard to overcome, it's actually very simple to overcome it. You have to gradually make the unknown known. If that means hiring your first assistant, stepping out onto your first stage, which you could even break down more granularly, right? Like do your first Instagram live as your first toe into the world of public speaking. Film your first video. Write the first chapter of the book. Take gradual steps to turn the unknown into the known, and then you can develop the overall philosophy of you no longer fear the unknown. You venture into the known. The sixth fear you may have in growing your business, and this is a big one for business owners once they get into the 6 and 7 figure mark. They want to jump to that 8-figure mark. They want to be doing over $1 million a month. They fear the personal development work that they've got to do to get to that next level. Look, you see all the trends among some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world today. It doesn't mean you have to adopt all of them. It doesn't mean you have to become a member of the 5 a.m. club or that you have to hustle and grind forever or whatever those commonalities may be. But you do have to begin the inner work on yourself to become the person that is going to take that 7-figure business into 8 figures. That may not mean you learning all of the skills required to do that, but it may mean you relinquish some control or you invite in that C-suite level person or that very strategic partner who is the guy or gal to get you to that next level. That requires trust. That requires a huge amount of due diligence, and all of those are personal development type skills. If you're not ready to say, hey, I want to work on myself, then you're afraid of doing them. If we want to scale this back to the folks who are just starting out in their business, there's also a ton of personal development work you have to do there in order to get that business off the ground. Overcoming a lot of the fears that we're talking about today is one huge part of that. Improving your sense of deservedness and worthiness to have the new business that you want to start is inner personal development work that you need to do to help you get to that next level. And the fear of it is very common and very rampant. The fear of investing in yourself and into your company is very common and very rampant. And there's little doubt in my mind that if you're struggling right now, it's one of the things that's holding you back. You fear hearing the word no. You fear rejection. Hearing no or being rejected could be considered a type of failure, but there are distinctions here that make it stand alone as its own category of something you might be feeling afraid of. If you make an offering to somebody and they say no, while you were making that offering, you were afraid of them saying no, how are you possibly making that offering with your full power, with your full confidence, and with your full certainty that, hey, no matter how this deal goes, I'm gonna be okay and it's not a reflection of my worth? If you're afraid to hear no, it's because you're placing so much weight on the no and you're taking it internally. The fact of the matter is, people say no to each other all of the time. It doesn't mean that you're worthless. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you don't have something great to offer. It quite simply means, one, you could improve your personal development work. You can improve what you're offering in and of itself, or other person at the other end of the line just quite simply was not a fit for your offer. So you can improve the type of people at the other end of the line that you're talking to. What does all of this point to? That hearing that no is a data point for you. You can analyze it, modify what you're doing in order to turn more no's into yeses. But if you sit around just continuing to be afraid of hearing the word no, you're not doing yourself any favors. So no is a really great data point, and it leaves the room for yes. So if you do any sort of client services and one prospect says no to you, what I coach my students on is do not bend over backwards trying to make that deal happen. There are a few strategies you could try if you feel like that person is a really great fit and they're just sort of on the fence. But if they're saying no, rather than going against your principles, rather than offering up a bunch of extra work for free or dramatically lowering your rates, take the no and understand that that no is leaving the space for the yes to come in. As this stuff gets more and more common for you, as it becomes unconscious competence and it becomes natural for you to feel this way, you won't fear hearing the word no anymore. The next fear that you may have if you are feeling held back in growing your business in any way is the fear of thinking big. Thinking big may very well be another unknown, right? We're taught in school to follow the rules, answer the questions on the test. When we get a job, we're taught to do the tasks associated with our job. Where does thinking big fit into any of that? As soon as we leave childhood, thinking big tries to get kicked out of our brains, out of our practices, and out of everything that we are. But in order to accomplish big things, where else is that going to come from other than the initial and ongoing thought of big things? Sarah Blakely tells a wonderful story of the time she was on some reality show, I don't remember the name, and she had to make this huge jump from like one cliff to another. All of these big 6-foot-tall guys were not making the jump. They were missing it. Sarah managed to make the jump and get to the other side. When they asked her, Sarah, how on earth did you do that? She said, I didn't look to just get to the other side of the cliff. I literally looked beyond where I had to get to. That is what you need to start doing in your business. Look beyond the initial place you want to get to. It's going to train your brain to start thinking bigger. So if you're thinking, I want to make $10,000 this month, that's great. That's all well and good. Brainstorm, sit and write down how you would make $100,000 this month. First of all, it's going to shift your perspective, like relative to money, and $10,000 is not going to feel like a ton of money anymore, which is a good emotional position for you to be in. And it's going to force you to think of bigger ways, come up with bigger offerings, impact your market in a bigger way. So this way, $10,000 becomes a check mark on your way to that $100,000 month. Oh, hey there. Are you full of shit? Do you see the popularity and the growing interest on social media and across all these platforms and even in mainstream news about becoming an entrepreneur? It could start with having a side hustle and you want to grow that into a real business and do real big things and make meaningful change and impact in the world. I hope so. But if that's the case for you, then you want to look out for these 11 signs that you are a fake entrepreneur. Don't hate me. Hi, I'm Laura, by the way, world-renowned, award-winning direct response copywriter, and I'm a business mindset coach. For no bullshit truth about entrepreneurship, subscribe to this channel, or don't. and be a fake ass entrepreneur. That's cool with me too. I'm too sassy. Delete this video. No, we're keeping it. We're running with. The first thing that reveals that you are a fake entrepreneur is you're a bully. And you might think that's kind of a weird thing to say, right? Like, Laura, what does that have to do with entrepreneurship? And in fact, shouldn't you be a little bit tough as an entrepreneur? Absolutely, you should be tough as an entrepreneur. You have to be tough as an entrepreneur. You're venturing out into the unknown. You're taking risks. You're doing a lot of work and a lot of stuff alone. Some people might try to copy off of you. They might try to steal from you. They might try to take advantage of you. So yes, you absolutely must be tough as an entrepreneur, but you should not be a bully. What that means is turning around and looking at all of the other newcomers, people who are really trying to get their feet wet and who are trying to step into this space and talking a bunch of shit to them or about them. For example, in my journey from newbie copywriter to very successful copywriter, I quickly saw that there was this big trend in the internet marketing and copywriting industry of bullying, talking bad about, and beating up a lot of the little guys, calling them newbies, nobody wanting to help, people saying that their questions were dumb, and then these big copywriting gurus making these broadly general blanket statements about all copywriters, right? All copywriters live in their mama's basement. All copywriters couldn't grow their own business if they tried. Copywriters couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Anytime I see some guru using some cliche blanket statement to generalize everybody in a market, they're being a little bit of a bully. And I think it's bullshit, honestly. The best entrepreneurs show up in a spirit of service, of giving, of wanting to lift the tide so that all of the boats along it get lifted up. That does not mean you're ever to be taken advantage of. It doesn't mean that somebody is supposed to suck all your time, all your energy for free, ask you a bunch of questions and demand you help them. Absolutely not. But you can quite simply not respond to a person like that. Or you could say, hey, go read this book, see if they actually read it. That's a very sneaky strategy that you could check out in my 8 networking tips for people who are new to the entrepreneurial world. Go see what I mean by that tip. It's pretty sneaky ninja shit that the people you admire might do to you next time you meet them at a conference. But beyond that, there's so many classy, elegant ways that you can handle somebody who is trying to take advantage of your time without bullying them and without bullying an entire community of people. So if you're one of the people popping off at the mouth, trying to sound like some of these gurus and trying to put down a whole class of people, it's an indicator to me that you're a fake entrepreneur. The next sign that you're a fake entrepreneur is kind of related. And that is if you are a social climber. If you're one of those people who sees a famous person or some big entrepreneurial guru at an event and you're willing to elbow your friend and push everybody aside to try to get to them, to try to manipulate them, to try to get them to like you, to take photos with them and then blast those photos all over social media, those things indicate that you're a bit of a social climber. Yeah, it's cool to respect somebody that you respect, and it's cool to want to connect with somebody that you respect, but do you really want to connect with that person, actually learn more about them, find out a way you may be able to provide value to them, even if that's just in the form of asking them a really good question? Remember, you don't have to provide value by being Einstein or by being Tim Grover, one of these guys who's going to be able to blow somebody's mind with their knowledge on a specific subject area. You could simply ask value by asking the right questions. But are you doing that, or are you looking to social climb? Are you looking to get in with a certain group just to push your career further and not connect with anybody and not serve as well anybody in the group? If that is your main focus, how can I use other human beings to get ahead? then you are a social climber. I don't know what sort of business value assets you're creating to the world, and it's an indicator that you are a fake entrepreneur. The next thing that clues people in to you being a fake entrepreneur is you blame others. If something goes wrong, you say it's a business partner's fault, or it was somebody on your team who did X, Y, and Z. People make mistakes, so there's a chance that, yeah, your business partner fucked up, your team member fucked up. But if you're their leader and you're their partner, you definitely played a role in fucking up. Don't you see that? You have to be able to take ownership and responsibility and control of any fuck up, of anything that goes wrong. That's what gives you the power to fix it. If something is entirely your business partner's fault, then I would wonder, well, why am I interacting with you then? Why wouldn't I interact with the business partner, with the person who is responsible for the situation? So if you're in the habit of pushing off that didn't get done because of something else, or this happened so I wasn't able to fulfill on my promise, and you don't take the ownership of that, and you don't say, hey, that was my bad, here's how I'm correcting it in the future, it shows that you don't really have problem-solving ability. It shows that you don't really have confidence in your ability to solve any problems if you just want to push blame off onto everybody else except for you. Problem solving and confidence are two hallmarks of entrepreneurship. So if you're a big time excuse maker, it's kind of gonna let the whole world know that you're a fake entrepreneur. The next, and still relevant to the previous point, way that you may be a fake entrepreneur is that you are full of excuses. That could come in the format of, oh, our tech went down, or I had a power outage and so I didn't deliver what I said I was going to deliver in time, right? So that's blaming outside forces for stuff that you need to be able to take ownership of and take control over. But when you blame other humans specifically without offering any solution-oriented talk of, here's how I'm gonna fix it, here's who else I'm gonna bring in, here's how that other party is gonna get appropriately trained, or quite simply, hey, here's where I was short-sighted, or here's where I had a blind spot, here's what I wanna do about it. And if you're not sure, and somebody's coming at you saying, hey, I expected this thing from you, where is it? You can in fact take ownership of that and ask that other party for help. So if you were to say, yeah, this thing went wrong, I'm working to fix it. Do you have any guidance? Have you experienced this before? I want to fix this to make this right for you. My reputation with you is incredibly important. So if you have absolutely any insights, of course you don't owe them to me, and I'm so sorry, but if you do, please let me know. Guess what? So often that party at the other end of the line is going to have so much respect for you for stepping up and being humble enough to ask the question that they're actually the exact person you've injured is going to give you action steps to remedy it because they want to be remedied, because they've been injured, right? So it's a much more empowered, holistic position to be in that's going to give you more information about how to operate in the future. It's going to work your humility bone, which is going to serve you really well. We need that balance of confidence, I'm a badass, I'm going to go get this, and the humility of, I don't have all the answers, I need help in certain areas, I need mentorship, I need to bring somebody in. But when you're focused on blaming the other people around you, you're not using any of that. So it's a big tell that you're a fake entrepreneur. A big, big, big tell that you are a fake entrepreneur. And this is something you can work on. And I work with a lot of my coaching clients on this, is you lack clarity and direction. Ask an inspiring entrepreneur what they're working on, and they'll be able to tell you, and they will feel incredibly energized by it. Ask them what they're excited about. Ask them what their vision is for this year and the next year, and they'll be able to tell you. Ask a fake entrepreneur what they're working on, and they're gonna become frazzled, and they're gonna say like 20 different things. They don't have clarity, they don't have a direction, they don't have a point of focus, and they likely don't have the confidence in their skills to fulfill on whatever their vague dreams might be. So they leave themselves open and they let the world dictate what opportunities might be available to them. A really important distinction here that may be able to help you if you struggle with this is the distinction between options and opportunities. When you are clear on what you want and what your vision is, the thought of having a lot of options goes away. You don't have a lot of options when you're clear on what your vision is. You only have the options that are in alignment with that vision and that goal. Now, within those options, within that path to your goal, there are abundant opportunities. There are abundant ways to get it done. Abundant people you could connect with, abundant people you could bring in and enroll into your vision and onboard into your organization. Be that customers, be that team, be that raving fans, whatever it may be. There are limitless opportunities. So I don't want you to get this confused and think that opportunities are scarce, because they never are. But when you have that clear vision, the options start to whittle away. I have the vision of growing my Diamond Day brand, which is premier experiences and coaching for driven individuals like you, perhaps, if you are watching this video. So other options like starting a button business, and I don't say that randomly, I actually think about starting a button business quite a bit. You could do a lot of cool things with buttons, but starting a button business is not an option for me because it is not on my path to growing Diamond Day. Might it become an option in the future? Yeah, of course, but it is not an option for me right now. Within growing Diamond Day, I have abundant opportunity, abundant ways to connect with more people like you, abundant ways to share the message, share the platform, share the mission, share the goal. So, can you use that distinction to help you gain more clarity? Perhaps you can, and I hope you can. If you have no clarity at all, and you're looking at every single option, and the one social media ad that tells you to start an email list, you're like, oh, okay, I'll do that. That's an option, I'll do that. And then the one social media ad that tells you to build your YouTube channel, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that. But you don't have one path to put them on, right? If you would do it across two totally different spaces, mindset and buttons, then it's a sign that you're a fake entrepreneur. Which ties into my next point. When you don't have that clarity and you don't have that laser focus, you're more prone to copying others. So a big indicator for me that you are a fake entrepreneur is you copy. Innovation is part of entrepreneurship. Innovation can happen in a lot of ways. You could offer a subtle change or a subtle improvement on something that already exists. You can bring two things that already exist together. So by innovation, I don't mean you have to start something completely from scratch. But if you only take what other people are doing and copy them, there's no innovation there. I can't call you an entrepreneur. You're a fake entrepreneur. This is a big one. Try your best not to feel some type of way at this, okay? A huge tell, maybe the biggest one of all, that you are a fake entrepreneur is that you are terrified to invest. This one boggles my mind in so many ways. You want to call yourself an entrepreneur. You want to put products and services out into the world and you want other people to pay for them, but you will not invest in yourself. I cannot describe how in opposition those two sentiments are. Entrepreneurs invest in themselves constantly in a gazillion different ways, right? Building a website, paying for a logo, paying for branding, paying for legal fees, tax support, right? And strategists. Investing a lot in their personal development, bringing copywriters, designers, web developers onto the team, purchasing product, right? Getting products created, hiring support staff, hiring other consultants, if you're a coach or if you're a consultant, bringing other people into the organization so that you can grow, right? If you are not of the mindset to do any of that. And of course you could do it gradually. Of course you can onboard one thing at a time, right? Get it to be ROI positive, and then you invest again. And then you take the next step and you go further and further and further. If you're not willing to put $1 down on your dreams, you are a fake ass entrepreneur. Get the fuck off my channel. Could you imagine? I don't know, I might want you guys to leave it in. We'll see how I'm feeling that day. The next tell that you are a fake entrepreneur is that you are afraid to delegate. It ties into the investment thing, but it's a little bit more specific, right? Because growth is part of entrepreneurialism. It doesn't mean that every single company has to grow to $1 million, $10 million and all of that. No. But as an entrepreneur, you are interested in growing and developing a company. A company is an entity that exists with you, but also apart from you. It is separate from you. That is the construct that helps you not attach all of your self-worth to the company, by the way. So sometimes you'll have to do things that are in the best interest of the company, even when your fears, your limiting beliefs would hold you back from doing that thing. As an example, you want to bring on a new client, but you have seen all the red flags that this client is going to be a pain in the ass. If you're not sure what those red flags are, leave me a comment below because I'll tell you all of them. If somehow those, just say in your gut, you feel like, oh, this guy kind of seems like a pain in the ass. I'm afraid to say no to his business though, because I really want to take on the revenue. Is that operating in the best interest of your company? Especially when you have other team members on board who are going to be interacting with that person. That's one way it could hurt your company. Another way it could hurt your company is it could hurt your morale, right? Your bandwidth, your energy is one of the most important resources of your company, especially when it's in the smaller stages, right? If that client looks to be the type to drain that bandwidth and that energy from you, even if you want to collect that money today, it is not in the best interest of growing your company in the long term. So you have to make those decisions that are in the best interest of your company and not just about yourself and your ego and your fears. To bring this back to delegation, you have to take what might feel like the small risk of letting other people on board for the sake of the company. Okay? Be that in protecting your energy and bandwidth, or giving you the room to grow and be the biggest driver of whatever it is you're the biggest driver in your business. If you're the one closing all the deals, everything you do that's not closing a deal is you operating not in the best interests of your company. But if you're too afraid, or if you want to pretend that you don't trust people enough to do that, which I believe is bullshit, by the way, I believe that fear comes from you don't know how to delegate, you don't know how to lead, you might not even feel worthy of having a company that is growing without you. That's where I tend to think the fear of delegation actually comes from, and not from this bullshit thing that people like to say of, oh, I don't trust anybody. Yeah, you do. You trust people. You actually don't trust yourself. So if you have these feelings and you refuse to get past them, to get yourself to the next level, if you refuse to start to delegate and lead, to get yourself to the next level in the best interest of your company, then it is a tell that you, and Winston agrees, are a fake entrepreneur. The next tell that you are a fake entrepreneur is that you do not network. Look, networking is some of the bread and butter for humanity, for humans. We're social creatures. We need to get together. This isn't just my extroversion talking, okay? The reason humans have evolved to be the dominant species on this planet for now is because of the way we work in groups. So if you think you can do everything on your own and you don't need to connect with anybody else, you're a fake entrepreneur. This doesn't mean that you have to be an extrovert. You can still be an introvert. You can be openly introverted, but you're still gonna budget the time, the energy, and the resources to get in front of the people you wanna connect with and make those connections. Even if you have social anxiety and seeing people face to face is incredibly painful for you, you'll still send an email or get into those DMs. You will do something to connect with the people that you want to connect with. If you don't, you're a fake entrepreneur. The next tell that you are a fake entrepreneur is that you take what's handed to you. Does this really even need to be explained? Huh? Like, isn't source energy for entrepreneurialism going after what you want and getting it versus taking what's being handed to you? So even if you run a service-based business and you're a solo provider in that business and you're the only one, if you just take whatever deals come to you without trying to modify those deals so that they best serve you, without putting yourself out there to get more and better deals, and without putting your own offerings out there so that different types of income related to your consultancy business come to you, you're a fake entrepreneur. You're not building a company, right? You may be a freelancer, and I always try to teach my freelancers, they run a business. They run a freelance business. That enables them to do things that are in the interest of that business and to create other potential streams of income within the business. So if you're that solopreneur for now and you offer these consultancy services, or if you are this coach, right? If you're this coach and you offer these coaching services to people, what products could you create that teach the process that you take your coaching students through, right? That is not just taking what's handed to you. That's not just like, oh, I got 2 leads, so I guess it's gonna be a shitty month. Hell no. There are a dozen, 100 other things you can do to not merely take what's handed to you and to get so much more out of the abundant world that exists literally right in front of you, literally the world you're living in right now. So a fake entrepreneur only takes what's handed to them. The last way, and this one hurts a little bit. The last way that shows that you're a fake entrepreneur is you quit. Now, don't get it twisted, okay? Sometimes quitting is very good. You start a project, you start a venture, it doesn't work. It's okay to quit that project, that venture. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to reposition. It's okay to try things differently. But you can't quit being an entrepreneur and still call yourself an entrepreneur. So if you give up on entrepreneurialism and you decide it's just not for you, it's much better for you to get a job, which could be great, by the way. It could be great. Entrepreneurialism is not for everybody. Do you know how fucking crazy the world would be if we were all entrepreneurs? No. Like, people should have jobs. People should have amazing, high-paying jobs that they love and that they feel fulfilled by. Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur. You're just not an entrepreneur then. You can't quit being an entrepreneur and call yourself an entrepreneur at the same time. And the reason that this personally hurts me is because, here's a little story. My dad wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he started his own business, and it ran pretty well for a few years, and then it did not run so well. And so he quit, and he sold the business. He was happy that he sold the business at a good time, you know, and that's great, but he took on a job. It was a really good job. He had the job for a ton of years. He made over 6 figures a year. He's got a nice retirement plan. He just retired literally 2 months ago. But my dad quit being an entrepreneur. And as I go into this story, it's not really relevant to the video, but I think that seeing that as a child implanted a lot of fears in me. Like, oh man, it's gonna crash and burn, right? Even though it didn't technically crash and burn for my dad, he still quit on his dream of being an entrepreneur. So I have had to work through the fears that has put in me over starting my own businesses, right? Like, ooh, it's gonna get to a point where at best I sell. And it took a lot of time actually before I even consciously realized that any of these things were going on with me, right? But once I did consciously realize them, I was able to see what's affecting my emotions and affecting my behaviors and decision making, and be able to deploy better behaviors and make better decisions now that I know I had this irrational fear of things going wrong and me needing to get a job in my childhood. The other side of the lesson, though, is there's no way I'm going to fucking quit. Period. Full stop. But if you do, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying you're a bad person. You may be a great person and you may have learned a great lesson and you may be closer to the path that is really meant for you. You're just a fake entrepreneur. If some of this stuff kind of struck a nerve with you, I empathize with you feeling that way. And this video up here may be able to help with why something I said might have struck a nerve and how to help you through it so you can feel more confident, emboldened, and badass as an entrepreneur. I'll see you over there. Was that good or what?